Hey guys, this is Jon.
And Austin.
See how quickly I did that to prevent you from...
Yeah, it's
really my podcast now.
It's now going to just be a contest over who can jump in with the intro first.
But you're only on about half of them, so I'm going to win.
That's true.
Especially, I'll win all the ones that you're not involved in.
I'm going to set up a secret schedule with Patrick where he and I start recording like separate podcasts and you're not involved.
You do have to cheat to win most of our competition, so I'm not surprised you do that.
It's not cheating. It's just smart gameplay.
Just trying real hard.
Yeah.
So we're down here at AMP in Oklahoma City. We're getting a chance to talk to some processors, meet some new people. And we just got out of the Cured Meat Championships. And we grabbed one of the winners. We've got Dustin from Strix Meat. Dustin, you want to talk about what you made, where you placed, how you did it?
Sure. Yeah, we do a lot of specialty sausages, mainly in that cured meat, especially. I believe it was a specialty small diameter sausage, and we did an apple is what won in that, apple pork sausage, and it's just a lot of tweaking and changing. We've honestly, if you've ever been a customer of ours, you've probably had a different apple flavor every season you come in. So it's like the apples, like is the mystery apple. You never know what it's going to be, applesauce or dried apples, or you never know. It's an experiment every year. But we finally got it dialed. What we think is dialed down, and
you
brought it this year, and it worked. It's not overly sweet. It's just got it. Apple. What we've learned is apple flavor is tough, extremely tough. I mean, it's most folks think of apple flavor as a apple candy, which doesn't taste like an apple at all. Just to have something taste like an actual apple that was challenging.
So I make a lot of apple sausage. For a while there, I was obsessed with the Excalibur apple sausage, and then I'd add just regular cheddar cheese to it. Made it probably way too much. Everybody was sick of it but me. We have a video of me doing this. We walked around because after the Cured Meat Championships, you get a chance to go in and taste, look at everything. At least I hope you were supposed to taste, because I was eating things.
Oh, yeah. That's the only reason people bring a knife to the show.
That was good. Yeah. And we have video of this. I tasted yours. I'm like, oh, well, that actually makes me sad. Like, that's so much better than my apple sausage. So you nailed it with that, man. That is super
well, thank
good.
You. It's a good one. We actually do, speaking of apple and cheese, we do an apple jack. We call it apple jacks, but it's apple and pepper jack sausage, just to give it a little something different. And it does good. But to get the real apple flavor, you got to, skip the cheese, just straight into the apple to get it.
Okay. So that hurts, but maybe I had to hear it.
It's tweaked.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways to change the apple flavor. We use in there. I mean, there's no secrets to what we do. Customers come in daily, want to make sausage. We say, grab an apron and come on. I mean,
do you really?
Other processors, we help, consult with other processors that's local, that they'll come and say, hey, this isn't working. I said, well, let's try this. I'll help you do it. I mean, it's not a cutthroat competition. I mean, there's more meat than we can process out there, and if you could do it too, come on, let's do this together. It's not we kind of treat our local area like the AMP community here, which blew me away when we first started. Was there's no secrets. That's what we thought. Yeah. It's like at the beginning, it's like, you can tell me that recipe is yeah.
I mean,
that's one of the things I love about AMP and the community here is everybody is technically a competitor, but no one's a competitor. Everybody is really a family together. If somebody has a problem, someone else steps in and helps them figure out how to make their issue go away. Everybody helps each other make better sausage.
It's great.
It's cool.
So obviously you want to make better sausage than, you're the guy next door, but you also want him to succeed. That's what it seems like to me. Everything I've ever seen is always a very open, accepting, and helping community. You and I started talking last night because I was talking to another guy, Dan, about some kosher stuff. You came in and we kind of got into some other stuff. Dan and I could be a dangerous combination because we both ramble, and we ended up way far away from meat processing. We were a long way from meat by the end of it. But it is, and this is what I was going to bring up, it is obvious that you have a very good relationship with him. I'm assuming you have that same relationship with other meat processors. I know we're talking like that is the standard, and it probably is, but do you think there's anything you've done specifically to foster that level of relationship with another processor? Like, are you guys physically close in where no, you're not. You're in Mississippi.
Not really. I mean,
he's
a good stretch from us. There's some around us. Some processors I've learned just from word of mouth that we've dealt with now more than ever, that there was always that intimidation factor from what you think another processor does. This processor got it figured out. Who am I to ask questions? And I think the same thing about other processors, and then I hear that some of the processors think that about us. I'm like, no, man, I'm here to help. I'm not. It won't hurt. I mean, it could be just elbow deep in deer season where you're there till the wee hours of the morning, and one of them calls that's in a town an hour away that's out of cheese and can't get a truck, and I hop in the truck. I'll meet you halfway. I got a case of cheese. I mean, there's a lot of that we all get it. We work together. We can do a good product, and that's what it all started from, was just giving customers a good product. For where we were for years, whether it's deer sausage, pork sausage, or any sausage, and that's what we specialize in. And they were just a subpar product. Nobody knew. I think we talked about that last night. Yep. That you don't have to make your product perfect if you make a good product, because most folks are used to dumping a cup of grease out of their skillet whenever they cook sausage. I'm like, you shouldn't have to do that. That's not normal, And once they taste a product that's good, they're blown away. I mean, we do a lot of venison hot dogs, and we've had a lot of folks that come in that you can tell are not deer hunters, and they come in like, hey, we need more hot dogs. I was just amazed at what a hot dog tastes like when it's made with real meat. Like, I didn't even know this was a thing, And the education, and a lot of folks just don't know the products out there. So
how long has Strix been around? Did you open it? Did you take it over from somebody?
We started 1980, 79, 1980 roughly is when we started as a little convenience store, deli. It's family business. My grandfather's one that started it. The family business from the get-go, and it was a convenience store that was just 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to midnight. I mean, that was
no matter what.
It was Hattiesburg, so work in town. There's lumber plants close, and the chicken plants around. There's a lot of working class folks in there that's looking for something quick. So we started the deli, fried chicken, where it got us kicked off. I believe it was around 4th of July. We had fireworks stand, anything you can imagine.
Sure.
Back in the day. My grandfather brought the grill up to the store to cook for the family, which was my dad, aunts, and uncles at the time. We're kids, and they're there all day. So he's like, "Well, I'm just bringing the grill up here. We're working. We're going to celebrate up here at the shop instead of, and we can't go home." And it grew from there. He cooked a few extra and do it up there with the chicken, and then folks go, "Hey," and that's where the name Strix come from. Is Strickland is our last name.
Okay.
Everybody called him Strick. J.S. Strickland was his name, and he went by Strick. So that was the thing. Is Strick, what's up with his barbecue? When is this coming back again? Is we'll try it next weekend. And it kept going and going, and then kind of morphed into a restaurant. I guess that was around Katrina. We got wiped out in Katrina pretty heavy. And then when we built back, we canned the gas station, all together, and just went back full restaurant.
So it was a total wipeout?
Like, we were down
all gone.
We were down 6 months. We had, there was somewhat of a shell of a building, but it was totally redone. And we've been through a total loss in a fire, a tornado, and then the last was Katrina. So we've had the trifecta. I hope we're done.
Yeah, I would say you've gone through enough. I mean, it takes a certain amount of stick-to-itiveness. Like that's stubborn. Nope, I'm not giving up on this.
And we keep saying, it's brutal with the long hours in the restaurant business. This is long before the meat processing started. We keep saying, if we get wiped out again, we're just going to change careers. But you won't. We get wiped out, and what do you know? We're right back in it within a few months. It's like, why do we do this to ourselves? But we love it. There's no hiding it. I grew up in a playpen in the office, and I've got a little 5-year-old that he's grown up in the playpen
Same
office.
thing.
You know, he's he'll pop his head out of the office and want to know if he can get a stick of collagen casings and make it play with it. I mean, It's just stuff that folks just, it's so normal for us, you know, the folks don't get it.
Yeah.
So it's been a family business from the get-go. We opened the processing plant in 2013, which is actually technically connected to the restaurant. It's just a different suite, I guess you could call it, you know, the other end of the building. That started as just a retail meats, you know, fresh cut steaks, ground beef. We made some sausage, just, you know, small end stuff. We really started pre-packaging some of our smoked products. You know, we smoke chicken, ribs, pulled pork at the restaurant, and we kind of pre-package that for carry out. People do some, you know, big orders and they want to grill, but they need a quick grill. So once you get a pre-smoked slab of ribs and you grill it in 20 minutes, and you can rock and roll.
Yep.
And that started pretty well. Then we kind of tinkered in the deer, you know, just wanted to try it, and that was like opening a floodgate.
Oh,
and that was it. I mean, it doubled every year. It still continues to double. And we closed the meat market, I guess you could call it, and went full deer. We got to the point there wasn't enough hours to keep it separated, you know, inspect this stuff from custom. So we went full custom, and that's where we are now. We've kind of eased back into the retail, prepackaged retail. We do a lot of exotic retail, not your standard, your standard meat market. We do a lot of the venison sausage is probably our main on a retail end. You know, farm raised red deer, elk sausage. We do pheasant, a lot of alligator sausage, rabbit and rattlesnake sausage, camel burgers. I mean,
I am going to be happy.
Anything
I'm going to have to
that's
talk to you.
Odd, we've got it.
I'm going to have to talk to you later because we do this thing on the podcast sometimes where we take something, make it into sausage, somehow turn meat into a further processed product, and the other one has to guess what protein it is and what seasoning is in it. So I need to find something still exotic from
for
you.
not getting it right.
Yeah, we can throw some kinks in that pretty quickly. So.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So you said rattlesnake. Are you making sausage out of rattlesnake, or are you just selling the rattlesnake meat?
We do some sausage. We don't get a lot of it.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of a novelty when we can get a hold of it. We mix it with we'll do some rabbit. I mean, it's honestly, it turns in behind the scenes, and we're very small. We have that luxury of playing with a small batch. You know, we can dream up something crazy, and you know, we send somebody down to the gas station like, hey, go get some chocolate. I don't know, weird, but you never know. You know, and it's terrible. Trash that. That's
right.
Not
Don't do
work.
that again.
But we have that luxury of playing with crazy stuff, and we come up with some wild flavors for sure.
That's cool.
You said pheasant. What have you done with pheasant so far?
Pheasant, we did a fresh sausage with pheasant.
Okay.
You know, a little pork. You know, you can do some wine. You can mix in some cheeses and just play with it. You know, kind of a novelty thing. It's not by no means even on the radar for
most people.
Top sales. Yep. I mean, it's just something crazy.
So I've done two things with pheasant. Well, I've done two things with pheasant in a sausage that I thought were both phenomenal. First was we took pheasant breast, we added 25% of pork fat, and then we used the Hatch green chili seasoning. What cheese did we use? It was just cheddar? Probably just cheddar cheese. Those were really good. But we made pheasant snack sticks that were just out of this world good. I mean, absolutely excellent. We used our Willie's, which is like our standard seasoning. We added pork fat. One of the cheeses, encapsulated citric acid, and obviously we use a binder. Pretty much anytime we're not using pork, we're using some sort of binder. But yeah, those were like top notch good. We absolutely love those. So you might want to give that a shot.
Yeah,
now,
for sure.
Patrick took off his headphones and mouthed something to me because it's what we always talk about when we start talking about exotic meats. Have you ever had mountain lion?
I have not.
So we do some advertising with this guy. He has a show called Nick's Wild Ride. And he claims, and he's not the only person I've heard this from. I think it's somebody in the meat eater world who was talking about it. Their favorite meat is mountain lion. And they both said it's not particularly close. Like it's mountain lion and everything else. So I'm dying to get to try some mountain lion.
yeah,
So if you had said you had mountain lion, I would be driving down to Mississippi next week to try some of that.
Haven't got that one yet, but I'll see what I can do.
It's just one of those weird things. Like I would never, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, but I can't think of another animal that eats only other animals. Like that's all a mountain lion eats. It's not scavenger, pure carnivore that we eat. There's nothing else other than reptiles. Like they're obviously
different type of protein there, though.
Right, very different type of protein. So, I don't know. That's always just amazed me that it could possibly be that good. And then all of a sudden, a mountain lion started getting spotted in my neighborhood in Wichita. I've got 2 big dogs. I've got a 100-pound pit bull, and I've got a almost 200-pound mastiff. And we were going out every night on long walks looking for that mountain lion.
It's meant to be.
I wanted it, but no luck.
I would have ended up there with a 2 a.m. phone call from you. Austin, get to the office. We're processing this thing now.
And we got to do it real quietly because I didn't have a license for it. So Patrick just asked, do you have a protein that you like to use more than the others?
Mostly venison is what we use, really. I mean, we kind of use the term venison loosely. I mean, it's elk. We do a lot of elk, and red deer is probably the most popular. We work in some antelope, here and there, but I would say any fresh cuts, specialty fresh cuts like a stuffed loin or some kind of especially marinated steak, we'll gear more toward the elk on the elk side. Yeah, and then a ground product is almost 90% red deer. I mean, on that end of the venison, and it turns a better product. You said the deer keeps doubling. How much did you do this last year? This past year was 4,300. 4,300 total animals. That's you're looking at. I mean, it's at probably a good heavy 4,000 of just deer. When we get a few exotic stuff in, but it's not. That is a lot. That is a lot. Big percentage. Were you turning people away? We never did. Oh wow. That was one we had it longer than normal, longer than ideal turnaround time. Sure. But some of the other processors quit taking. So we told folks, we're more than full, but if you're willing to wait, we've got means to prep it correctly and freeze it. If you want to wait, we'll do it, and they didn't have a problem. Do you guys accept full carcass or we already just boned out? Quartered meat or boned out meat. Okay. The way our facilities started as a meat market was never set up in a skinning room, and it grew out of our control. There's no room to add a skinning room, and not going to be skinning in the cutting room. It's just nobody wants hair floating around when somebody's trying to make sausage. So we just cut that out totally. Yeah, it's just super gets everywhere. So you have 4,300 animals. During your peak season, how many people you have helping you out? How many employees you got? Peak season, there's 7. I would say 7 of us. Is it 17 or 7 is the max we've ever fit in our place. It's so brutal. You're still running those 6 a.m. to midnight hours. That didn't change, huh? No, that didn't change at all. That's a long day. That's crazy. I like to pretend I work a long day, but you don't work anywhere near those hours. I do not work anywhere near those hours. Nothing turns off. It's just from smokers and we call it the ambient deafening hum of a stuffer and vacuum seal you get so immune to when you walk outside. It's like a fourth dimension. You're like, what is that sound? I mean, it just runs for so long. You get accustomed to it. But yeah, there's 3 to 4 full timers. A good throughout the year. Then we bring in a few extra to help. Cutters and bring in animals and different things. But yeah, it's a small crew. So you did say you get to play around with some small batch stuff, but I thought I heard you say you have a hydraulic stuffer, so it's not that small batch. Well, yeah, it's not that small. Okay. We can do a 10-pound batch or something. It's about as small. And you run a 10-pound batch, if you start with 10 pounds, by the time you run it through our equipment, you might have 5 to 6 pounds of sausage. You know,
Sure.
By the time you run through machines, you're going to lose a little bit here and there. 10 is about the smallest we do. You know, playing around. 20 pounds is a good average per flavor on a customer that comes in, and that's our thing. Is we keep every order individual.
That's what I was going to ask.
A lot of folks say there's no way you can do that, or I don't believe it. I mean, there's two options. I mean, you can trust us.
Right.
Well, we've been doing this for 40 plus years. Has not been by taking advantage of people, or you can grab an apron and come watch. I mean, that's there's two options. You know, it's all done individually. We feel that a lot of folks take a lot of care of it. I mean, you hear a lot of folks that want to keep stuff separate because, you know, I know people might not take care of their meat. I don't want to mix with theirs. And I get that, you know, 100%. But most of the people we run into take extra care of their meat, you know, and I think they, ought to reap the benefit of that. You know,
Sure.
Put a lot of work in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know of a couple of deer processors where they said in the last 2 years, they're like, no, you get what you get. You brought in X number of pounds of meat, you're getting X number of pounds of meat. We're not guaranteeing you it's your deer anymore. And I think it is important. I think as hunters, you're going to enjoy something that you killed more than if it was just somebody else's animal.
Yeah, exactly. And then you learn too. I mean, if you make a bad shot, you're going to get less product back. Yep. You know, you have to just learn like the rest of us, you know, and get better if you want. I mean, because we're not going to give you anything that's unacceptable. You know, if it's a bone fragment or blood shot, or it's all coming out, we'll make sure you're getting good product, but you're going to lose product, you know. So that's one thing I don't understand, how folks that do batch stuff, how can you can't account for that. If somebody brings in, 50 pounds until you get it cut and prepped, how can you give them back 50 pounds? You might only yield 25 out of there, you know, if it's I feel it's a more consistent product.
So can you walk us through a little bit? Somebody comes, they drop off quarters to you,
Mm-hmm.
You're stacked, you already have your work for the next 7 days. What happens? Do they get vacuum packed, thrown in a freezer? Do they get butcher wrap, thrown in a freezer?
As soon as they're dropped, all your fresh cuts are pulled. They're cut within 2 days generally after dropping. That's we say everything is marked as deboned, and if it doesn't have a bone, the debone just entails of cleaning up any sinew, glands, bad shots. Anything's cleaned and prepped, within 2 days of dropping off. If they have steaks, that's taken care of. If it's tenderized and vacuum sealed. And so any fresh cuts essentially is ready for pickup within 2 days. But to cut down on the confusion on partial orders, we complete it and then we store it until your rest of your product's ready. Mm-hmm. But from that point, the trimmings and in most cases the whole deer that's going to be turned into sausage, is kind of gearing away from the fresh cuts. 90% of the time it's they'll bring in the full deer and it's all sausage, back straps, tenderloins, they want it all ground. And if that's the case, in any leftover trim, it's then vacuum sealed in big, large vacuum bags, and then either boxed or lugged or somehow noted with your information, and then sent to a flash freezer. And that's where it's stored until it's ready for further processing.
Okay.
Then it's pulled out and it's slacked just enough to be able to grind and keep a good, solid, cold product.
Yep.
And then stuffed and packaged on a fresh product, or stuffed and smoked on a.
Yeah, it's one of the number one things we tell people when they're doing anything at home. Meat that is at least partially frozen is going to go through your grinder so much better. Much better.
Make everything easier.
It makes all the difference in all of the steps, honestly. Mixing, grinding, stuffing, all of them. As cold as you can get it without screwing up your equipment, that's what you want to do, because you're keeping yourself safer, you're protecting the proteins. I mean, it really is a key thing. You see these people who are putting not room temperature, but like 38 degree meat down their grinder, and like, oh, it won't grind. Well, because it's just fighting back over the auger. It
Right.
doesn't
And every
want to go.
second it's in that grinder, it's getting even hotter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you try to mix, and once you get that temperature up enough, as protein extraction is not going to happen. You can mix it overnight if you want to, but it's not coming out of there.
We did. You want to tell?
We did that one time when we were making a video with
Ron
Shera, yeah. They have a bunch of different TV shows that we advertise on, and we were doing just a quick segment of a video for them on how to make some sausage. And when we were doing that, we're not concerned about the temperature of the meat because we're just getting shots, pictures, and video.
Right.
And so it was taking a very long time to do everything. So by the time we got to mixing, the meat was room temperature. I mean, it was 65, 70 degree meat.
This product wasn't getting eaten.
Yeah, it was not being eaten. It was all just for camera. But I'm sitting there trying to mix and mix and mix. And I'm like, protein. I'm like, this is not going to work. There is zero protein extraction because it got too hot. But if I mean, that is like the extreme of the extremes there. If someone else is actually processing and your meat is in the 60 degrees, you need to start over, throw it away, do something else. But even if it's in the 40, 50 degrees, that makes a big difference.
Oh, God, yeah.
Keeping it in the lower 30s is huge. But
and that's complicated to achieve at home. I mean, even just in and out of your standard kitchen freezer, you know, but we can, you know, have the privilege, I guess, to take a lug of meat and put it in a freezer, and essentially if you don't get it out within 3 minutes, you can't grind it because it's too frozen, you know. And
so you have a blast freezer.
Yeah, then in a home freezer, I mean, that's it takes a little while to get to that point.
Yeah, quite a bit different. So your freezer, what does it run at? Negative 40?
We have 25-ish or so. I mean, they vary, you know, from 20 to sometimes we can get to 30. We're in and out of them so much. Just have a lot of air movement.
Yeah.
I mean, some really fast moving fans that helps.
That's
awesome.
Awesome.
More than the temperature is the airflow.
Okay.
Helps big time.
Interesting. I hadn't really considered that, but that obviously makes sense. That keeping air moving is a large part of how that one freezer we used to have would get to those quick freeze on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. So you were talking about doing some like test smaller batches. Can you talk about like what the best thing that ever came out of those? Like something you made that was small and you're like, oh, that's amazing. We're going to start making that.
Yeah, I would say we did. Most recently, we played around with I believe it was sun-dried tomato. Sun-dried tomato basil was kind of where it started. Then it morphed into some high-temp mozzarella, and then adding a few, you know, onions, and then a very extensive sausage.
Sure.
More ingredients than you really want to make in a sausage. It turns out great. You know,
but if your customers like it and they're willing to pay for it,
yeah. But they want to, you know, if they want a upper end product, it's there. We've got all ends of the spectrum. You know, you can get cheap and fast sausage if you just want sausage, or you can get it. You know, get a specialty product. And we try to source some higher end ingredients on peppers and onions and stuff like that. You know, seasonings from not necessarily sausage blends, but just additive seasonings, you know, whether it's jalapenos or pineapples or anything that makes a big difference on the quality of the product. I mean, you can using a cup of this and then a cup of the same product or same ingredient from a different company is
yeah.
Oh yeah, night and day difference. Oh, for sure.
You know, it always with you guys, this product has always been top notch. You know, there's no waste. You don't have to overkill, you know, and add an extra handful of pepper just to taste it. You know, there's a big difference, and that says a lot in the quality of the products. They've always been top notch. You guys, for sure.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Mississippi, not quite ground zero of the hog mania, the wild hog mania that's going on, but you've got a lot of them. Do you have people out there going after them and trying to bring them to you? Yeah,
we do a little of that, and that's all. Most of that comes in boneless. You know, and we do a lot of the smaller pigs. There is a pretty vast population of them. So a lot of the hunters that bring in have the option to choose, choose the best looking hog. I mean, they go out and trap in a night and they got 30. So it's, let's just pick the good ones. You're not really stuck with what you get. You've got an option. But yeah, they're getting gradually worse. They're rough.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous one of those environmental disasters that a lot of people don't really understand how bad it is. Like they think, oh, pigs. Like, no, billions of dollars of crop loss, billions of dollars of damage, and they're driving natural wildlife out of the areas. I mean, they're a scourge. I firmly believe they should all be hunted down and killed. But the one thing I do hear a lot from hunters who go after them is they don't like the taste of them. So is there something that you do specifically other than choosing the best one that can help the taste of the wild hog?
You can. A lot of times, I mean, naturally a smaller hog is better. Sure. Most of the time you can, once you skin it, right then and there if it's worth dealing with. I mean, there should never be a question of getting it back from the processor and saying this is terrible. Like that should have been figured out before it was ever put a knife into. Yeah. So that has a lot to do with it. I mean, you got some glands like you would in a deer that need to come out and send you on the hog thing. I don't know I'm sure you've heard, and some people request, but a lot of folks want to, harvest a deer and a hog, and want to use the hog for the pork in the deer, and we don't suggest that.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Don't do that. Thing. My goodness. Yeah. I mean, it's just a totally different fat. Oh, I mean, you're not
where there is any.
Yeah, even if you have any fat, it's not. It's oily. It's too soft. I mean, you can't grind it, and that's not even a temperature issue. You can freeze it solid, and it's just it's almost translucent. It's just not a. Don't ruin your deer sausage with wild hog. So me personally, I mean, other folks that love it, but yeah, but we don't mix it.
I have to imagine the people who are like, no, I love wild. Like they've either not run into one with a lot of issues, or they are getting the small ones. Like I have to believe because
right. No, a wild hog sausage by itself, supplemented with some domestic fat is a very good product. I mean, we do even on a larger hog.
Okay.
As long as it's not a real musky hog. I mean, if it's a bad one, like I said, you'll know, before you ever cut it. But even on a larger hog, if you can go straight wild hog, and then depending on the fat ratio of the wild hog on your domestic trim, we add 20 to 25% domestic trim back to it, and that makes a very good sausage. You almost treat a wild hog almost treat it like there is no fat, like you would trim a deer or anything else.
Because a lot of times there will be very little. Another thing that we pushed a lot to our Meatgistics guys early on is there is no fat like pork fat. Like it is the best fat. It's creamy, it's white, it has very little taste. And we'll get people who are like, oh yeah, I just added some beef fat and didn't really like the product. I'm like, well, let's go back to what you just said. Beef fat is not the same as pork fat. They're not.
No, they're totally different.
Yeah, it is not an equal thing.
When we make a beef sausage, we can't use we use a different seasoning blend because you make a pork sausage just like you do a beef sausage. Not only do you have your pork and beef difference, just a consistency, mouthfeel, everything is totally different.
Absolutely.
And there's things to help. I mean, we always bump up. Anytime we use beef in a product, we bump up garlic a few percent. Anytime it's bumped up beef, using beef, anytime you bump up garlic, it makes a better mouthfeel every time. You don't get the haze on the roof of your mouth like you would in a beef fat. Beef fat has a higher melting point, and garlic will mask that every time. And fresh, granulated, in any kind of garlic powder, and it's a night and day difference.
I've not tried that, but
I actually learned that from a processor here several years ago. I'm like, hey, you sure about that? So just try it. Just make an original beef sausage and do everything like you would a pork sausage, and then just add about 1% garlic.
1%.
And you can add more if you want flavor. But if you just got just enough in there, it blew my mind.
And you said it doesn't matter if it's powder, if it's...
Yeah, we've used some fresh. I mean, if you're going more flavor, you might want to use some roasted or some fresh or a little higher end garlic.
Yeah.
But if you're just trying to coat the mouthfeel, we've learned just garlic powder does great.
Yeah, that sounds like
That's
a
an
fun thing
awesome
to try.
tip. We're
Yeah.
absolutely going to try that
And
out.
most sausage seasoning have some kind of garlic in it, but just give it a little boost and
a
it
little
helps.
bit more. Okay.
Helps big time.
I'm just thinking of all the things I'm going to try that on now. All sorts of poultry sausage. I'm going to try adding that and see if that helps it. But still nothing compares to pork fat.
Oh yeah,
It's just-
absolutely. There's not a comparison.
The one thing I get every once in a while is people will say duck fat. The duck fat is similar in the creaminess. It's not quite as white and it has a very low taste. But you'd have to kill a ridiculous number of ducks to get enough to do it. And I just made some duck breast prosciutto like 2 weeks, a week and a half ago. Super simple to do. I just took salt, mixed in a little bit of one of our seasonings for a little bit of flavor, put a layer of the salt down, put the 2 duck breasts on top of it, covered it with salt, left it for 24 hours, rinsed it off real good. Should have rinsed it off a little bit better because it ended up being pretty salty. I wrapped it in a collagen casing, and we've got an Eller dry cure cabinet, but most of our home guys that I'm trying to help aren't going to have anything like that. So I just set the temperature and I left the humidity as to whatever it would. And I thought it was phenomenal. It was done in total 8 days too. So
Wow.
any duck I get, not taking that fat for sausage. I'll go get some pork fat for that. That's getting duck breast prosciutto made from that. I
Yeah, there's
love
too many
that
other
stuff.
good options for Doug.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's better things
Yeah,
to do.
we do a fair amount of duck sausage as well.
Do you?
We use we use a little pork fat in that, but mostly bacon. We have the best luck with bacon mixed with a duck and a sausage. That's good.
Do you have a favorite seasoning profile you're going for with duck, or?
Usually on the sweeter, we've had good luck actually with the maple bacon. I think a maple bacon snack stick, I believe
Okay.
this season you guys have, and we use that as with the sausage, with some other seasonings too to kind of boost it to not trying not to mimic a snack stick in a smoked sausage,
Right.
but to get that maple bacon flavor, that makes for a very good duck sausage.
Have you ever used something called Bacon Taste Booster?
No, I
So-
have not. I've seen it and I've contemplated it, but I've never got a chance to use it.
So we used to tell people all the time, back when I was in customer service, they'd ask, they're like, can I add this to my imitation bacon? Can I add it to this snack stick? And we just say, no, that's not what it's designed for. And then one day I was making a batch of imitation bacon, which is just ground up whatever product. You add the seasoning, put it into a loaf and cook it. I was like, I'm going to try it. Added it. It was not night and day, but it was way better.
Yeah.
So for like 2 or 3 years, I stayed at that and I would just use it for that. And then we're making sweet maple bacon snack sticks one day. And I'm like, why don't we just see what this is like? I mean, why not? It's Walton's money anyways. I didn't buy the
Thanks.
So added that, and man, does it make a difference. Like it just kicks up. Now it does present a saltier finished product, but it's not so salty that it's going to like be off-putting. But man, it kicks up the bacon flavor, and one of its main uses is to fight off rancidity in the cooler. With bacon obviously goes rancid
Right.
fairly quickly. This helps fight it off, I think like another 3 or 6 months. So I've got some in our freezer that have been in there for over a year now. I'm planning on leaving them until 2023-ish and trying them there, see if there's any problems with that. So it could also extend the shelf life of the sticks. So, but yeah, I would absolutely recommend you do it.
Yeah,
It definitely
that's
is.
another one of those things, man. You never know what you're going to try. Then we talked about the small batch. We had played around with a Christmas sausage several years ago, just trying to work in some clove and nutmeg and just something different. Almost like a taste of Christmas. And
Sure.
that kind of,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You don't know how to put your finger on it, but everybody knows what it is. And we did a fresh sausage, worked good. We tried a smoked one and it kind of killed the flavor, but the fresh sausage. And during that same time, we were trying to get some pine, juniper, some flavor in there. So we were tinkering around with some different gins to add to it to try to get that flavor. And it worked for that. And during this time, we're also making other trial batches, just me and another guy in the processing room. We had 20 lugs out with a handful of meat in it hand mixing with a little flat top skillet in the back, and we'd try a little bit. So a lot of bowls and seasoning and mixing up going on. There was meat tags of the recipes and seasonings everywhere. And somehow in the mix of that, in our crawfish sausage that actually won a couple years back at an AMP show, is a pork and crawfish sausage. We were mixing some of that in, and at some point, gin got misplaced with water.
Okay.
In the mix of this, and if any customers out there that hear this, we're not. When you bring a deer, we're not flying off the handle and giving you the wrong ingredients. This is strictly a test kitchen. Yeah. This isn't a normal thing. But we had used some fresh onion and some dried onion in our pork and crawfish sausage, and the gin got replaced. The water got replaced with gin at some point in time, and we had several options of the crawfish, and one of the batches of crawfish was phenomenal. What's in this stuff? Like we tried different levels of heat, and that's when we had multiple crawfish sausages out. But there was one that was like, what is this? It's like, this isn't a different heat. It's totally different. We got to backtrack, and it was the gin. And now at most specialty sausage and andouille we use gin. Anything that's a heavy onion, whether it's fresh or dried, if you put a splash of gin, the onion flavor, I don't know what it is, man.
That's cool.
It is phenomenal.
Talk about were you totally replacing water, or is it just a little bit?
It was just a little bit with it, not a.
All right.
Because we have done some and try to replace, and if you get too much of the alcohol in there, it ruins it. But you get a little bit of the flavor. We've used some pecan whiskey, made a maple pecan sausage for a long time. That was good. You can overpower that one quickly, but just a little bit. Well, pecan whiskey, apple brandy. Actually, the sausage you tasted today had a little apple brandy in it to give it that extra kick.
There you go.
And there's no secrets, man. I'll tell you anything.
That makes sense. Like trying to remember a little bit what it tastes like, but there was. I mean, most of the time when we're using alcohol, it's cooking off anyways. But there was something to it. You added just enough so it kind of tickled your taste buds, but it in no way obviously was overpowering.
Right.
So yeah,
and that can quickly ruin sausage. We've learned that the hard way too.
Too much.
Never had too much of that. It just ruin it all. Yeah, the gin is a weird thing with onions, man. I don't know what it is, but it's stuck with us. It's on one of our top sellers on the crawfish.
Well, that
cool. Just goes back to just try it. Worst case, it's not inedible. You might not want to make it again, but it doesn't go to waste. Yep, somebody eat it. Just try it. Don't be scared to try it. That's what we learned, because you can come up with some crazy stuff.
Actually, the class I'm teaching here in just a little bit, that's like one of my closing remarks is like to just try it. Not about making sausage, but in anything in life, like you just sometimes have to just do it. You have to just go try it. If it doesn't work out, but you come across something great. The only way you do that is just by getting your hands dirty, get in there and try it.
Yep. It can come back and bite you, but most of the time it doesn't.
And sometimes you hit a home run. I mean, you did it with the apple. Real quick. So I did an andouille video 3 or 4 years ago, and I don't know if somebody had told me about what you were doing, but I added a very small amount, 5% of shrimp to it, and I thought it was excellent. Even some of the andouille purists who try it said, yeah, no, that is really good. But oh my God, you would have thought I kicked people's grandmas. Like, you don't ever add andouille or shrimp to andouille. I'm like, no, you do, because I did.
You tried it.
And it was good.
Yeah, we make boudin, believe it or not, without liver, and we cannot keep it in stock.
Huh.
And then there's some diehard Cajuns that say, I can't believe you do that. Oh, it's Mississippi boudin. We're not in your territory anyways.
There you go. Leave me alone.
We got our own, us country folks up here, we're not, keen over the liver, so we just make it our way. So there's old timers that they're set in their ways, but the folks that's trying to dabble in it, just go for it. Awesome. Got anything else you want to say? Do you have a website? Yep. You can find us at Strix Meats. That's StricksMeats.com. Facebook, Instagram. You'll see us as Strix Meats. Strix Deer Processing, is a little side gig. And then Strix Barbecue. is our main restaurant. But you can Strix Meat, Strix Barbecue, I'll get you to the main page. Check us out and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and we had some products going out in stores here fairly quickly. They're already in the Hattiesburg area. We do a venison meat stick, labeled as a meat stick, just a venison and beef snack stick. Now we've got those out in about 50 to 60 stores now, and they're pushing heavier and heavier. So there's original out in the wild now, and we're playing with some different flavors now. Hopefully we'll have in R&D now is a pineapple pepper jack. Having a little issue getting that sweet enough and juicy enough on the pineapple side and still fall under the shelf stable category.
Okay.
So that's been a learning experience there, but hopefully that'll be out soon, and we'll do some twist on a jalapeno, cheddar, of course, and maybe a maple bacon, do some different things. So hopefully have a full line of the venison meat sticks. If you see them in a store, try them. We can send them to you. You can order them on our Facebook page, website, call. I mean, we're small mom and pop shops. If you might not see a big, e-commerce store, but there's a phone number. Call, buddy. We'll send it to you. So hope to have a full line of those out, and they're good. It's a good lean stick. It's not a greasy, snack stick.
One of the weird questions I get, not a lot, but sometimes on Meatgistics, is like, I want to make a Slim Jim that tastes like the Slim Jims. I'm like, you want like an oily, like you want to bite in and look at your hand, it's covered in grease? Like, why? That's not, but people like,
some people like it.
Yeah.
If you can,
to each their own, I guess.
Beef hearts and pork fat, you probably
could,
duplicate it, but that's not what we do, So.
Never did it, but I did toy around with when that was, somebody had asked a few times. I was like, I wonder if you just add some vegetable oil. Like, I wonder if that would do it. Never actually went through, but maybe I need to try it out. See if we actually can get that grease.
I think there's better ways to make snack sticks.
Well,
there are, and like we talked last night, there's so many folks accustomed to that, whether it's Slim Jim or anything. I mean, Slim Jim makes a good product. There's several other ones that do too, and they've got their own flavor profile. But a lot of folks are so accustomed to that, be it flavor or grease or texture, it's something different. Whether it's good or bad, it's different, and that, I think that's what catches them off guard more than anything. They want to duplicate something they're familiar with, not duplicate a new product.
But if you can catch them off guard and get them to realize that your product is better, you've got a customer for life.
Yeah, we just the little line of convenience stores in our area. I went into to meet with them about stocking our snack sticks, and it just so happened that every store was out of original Slim Jims. Like, oh yes, so
perfect.
You never know what you're going to hit. So if you can get them to try your product, then you got them. So that's a good thing. It just make a good product. It'll find its way around.
Cool.
For sure.
Anything else you want to say?
That's about it on our end here. Appreciate you guys having us on.
Absolutely, man. You're a great guest. We'll be ordering some of those snack sticks from you, and on a upcoming podcast or live stream, we'll talk about them, send them to you.
Yeah, for sure.
And we do a breakdown on Meatgistics and YouTube of these, and we'll include your social medias, your website. Really appreciate you taking some time out. I know this is a great opportunity to network, so we won't keep you any longer.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
And Austin, you get ready to throw a kink in the specialty sausage and proteins. Just, I'll send you my cell number. I'll send you my cell number on the side, and we can throw them for a loop. Don't you?
Great.
Cool. Thanks, Dustin. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple, anything like that, leave a review. It really does help. Thanks.
Thanks for checking out the Meatgistics podcast. To shop everything but the meat, head on over to waltonsinc.com. And to get your meat processing questions answered by experts and enthusiasts alike, head on over to our online community at meatgistics.com. Walton's, everything but the meat.